There you go. You can't do that, but what we can do is we can talk to the young lady herself, Alyssa Marie Coon. Hello, Alyssa.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. So glad to have you here joining John and I today and get a chance to talk to you. First off, I wanted to mention that you are now from South Florida. What part of Florida are you, what's your hometown?
I'm from West Palm Beach.
Okay, all right. And John's over on the other side. He's over in Naples. And maybe someday either he'll be over there and get a chance to see you, or maybe you'll get over and play the Naples-Fort Myers area.
Yeah, maybe sometime. That would be awesome.
It'd be great to have you over
Fort
here.
Myers,
We'd love it.
Yeah, Fort Myers
me too.
has a booming live show market over there. They've got some great clubs, so you might find yourself over there. And please keep in touch with us. One of the things we always emphasize to our guests is we try to help with your promotion and letting people know what you're doing. We try to follow our guests because you become part of our family once you're on the show. So keep in touch with us. Let us know what's going on, and we'll help spread the word. And as I kind of implied, we'll also pop up and surprise you if you're in the area. So you can keep that in the back of your mind. You mentioned West Palm, and I know that there's something coming up in West Palm I wanted to touch on. But first, this song you just did, You Can't Do That. You co-wrote that, didn't you?
Yes, I co-wrote it with a writer down here. His name is Keith Radenauer.
Right, and he's with a music publishing group?
Yes, I believe so.
Red One Music, I think, or something like that, if I read it correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, I know we've come across the name before. As a matter of fact, I think we had one of their artists on earlier this year, so I am familiar with the name. And tell me a little bit about your writing music. Now, I know this is not something you've been doing for a lot of years because you're not an old time pro. Haven't been around 20, 30 years yet. How did you feel about writing the song, and how did you get it worked out?
So I've been writing for about 4 years now. So how I basically got it figured out was anytime I really think of something that could be included in a song, I tend to write it down on like a piece of paper or notes on my phone. Like if you go on my phone, I have like 40 different song titles
Sure.
written down for
Right.
when I want to write. So when I co-write, we sit down and sorry, there's dogs in the background. And
No
we
worries.
go through all of our different ideas, and then we pick which one we think would go the best. But when I write by myself, I pick what I think would work the best for me at that moment, and then I basically figure out like chords or whatever instrumentation I think would go along with the song title and meaning.
Well, that answers my second question, which was, do you write only the lyrics, or do you work on the music and instrumentation as well? And that's great. And the sound you came up with on this song is really, really. You would never guess that you were only in the business of writing music for 4 years. It's got a good sound to it, and very well produced too. Where did you produce the music?
I produced it at a friend. His name is Wayne, and we basically all did it together. Him, Keith, and we did it together. And we also recorded my new single with him, which just came out on November 15th. It's called Oblivious, with him as well.
Right, and that we're going to be playing after we talk with you, so the people get a chance to hear your brand new release, which has been out now into its third day. And we're looking for some big things of that. It's really a neat sound. I think people are going to really enjoy it. So keep stand by, listeners. That's going to be coming up in just a few minutes after we talk with Alyssa. John Bon Jovi, you're sitting there entirely too quietly.
Well, I'm enjoying the conversation, but Alyssa, the question that I have for you, and I don't ask this of too many people, but when when Alyssa Marie Coon isn't making her own music and trying to figure out the harmonies and all that, who do you listen to, and how critically do you listen to their music to try to deconstruct what they're doing?
You mean other artists?
Yeah. Who inspires you?
Definitely a lot of artists in Nashville, obviously. One of my biggest inspirations, the reason I started singing country music, was actually Danielle Bradbury. And she was the Voice winner a few years back. Also, Kelsey Ballerini, Casey Musgraves. Those are all my favorite artists. And when I listen to the songs, I'm always listening for, the kinds of things that they do in each song that are different from their other songs and are different from the other songs on the radio. Because sometimes, all the songs tend to have all the same chords but I find that those three artists are very different in their own ways, and I love them. So those are my three biggest inspirations in the industry right now.
And do you take their technique and I would never ever say that anybody plagiarizes, but do you take snippets of what they do to try to help it influence the music that you make?
Yes, for sure. Definitely Kelsey Ballerini is one that I look up to try to improve myself, because she's a lot like me musically in many ways, I think. Like the stuff that she does or the way she puts out her music is a lot like how I would want to be doing, and I think that I'm accomplishing it pretty well right now for how I want it to be. So she's one of them that I would like to use to improve myself. Well, if that makes sense.
I think what I've heard so far. I can't complain about anything that you're doing, because whatever you're doing right, because just the harmonies alone, and you can't do that. They're very polished, and they sound like a product of somebody that has been in the business far longer than you, and that can only mean good things for you in the future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, John. And the thing that strikes me is that you're able to create not only a good sound, but you're able to make it commercial without losing the integrity of the song. I mean, it's not like you just went out and intentionally created a commercial pop tune or something. It's got a commercial hook. It's got a good commercial sound to it, and yet it still has the integrity of the music itself, which is really, really the ideal combination when you stop and think about it.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
You mentioned on your website or on your Facebook site, you mentioned that something that looks fairly large coming up, and I have only a fleeting familiarity with it, having lived over on that side of the island for a while. South Florida Fair's 20th anniversary talent competition, the Stars of the Future. Now, are you going to be involved in that, or have you been in the past?
Yes. When I actually first started singing and doing covers and stuff, I used to do that competition every single year. But I haven't been doing competitions a lot lately, because that's not really the path that I want to go down. So they actually asked me to perform last year. Then they asked me to come back and do a song set this year for their 20th anniversary, which I'm really excited about, because I love being able to perform there, and it's so cool to see everyone with the different talents compete and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, you're not going to be involved in any way this year. You're not performing there or anything.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm performing.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I'm not competing, though. I'm just performing.
When are you going to be performing there?
What date?
Yeah.
I have to check. 1 second.
Okay, because that's fine. They show 3 days in a row. The December 14, 15, and 16 are the auditions, and I'm not sure what the actual show date is. And we'd like to tell our listeners that are going to be in the area when they would be able to catch you. And I understand if you have to look it up. Go ahead.
I don't know if there's an exact date yet for that right now. But I definitely could let you guys know.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry.
And for the list, no problem. Don't worry. As I've mentioned in the past, we don't use scripted cheat sheets of prepared questions or anything. This is purely ad lib. Pull up a chair, sit down, relax, and let's chat for a while. So, yeah, occasionally pop questions come up that can't be answered right off the cuff, and that's fine. It just lends to the casual atmosphere of what's going on here. So don't worry about that. You will be, I'm sure, posting it on your Facebook page at least. And that brings me to the next point. Why don't you tell the folks where they can find you online?
So if you want to look me up online, for my website, you could find it at AlyssaMarieCoonMusic.com. And for my social medias, you could do Facebook at Alyssa Marie Coon Music, Instagram and Twitter at Alyssa Marie Coon. And if you want to listen to my music on other platforms, you could check out any music platform, Alyssa Marie Coon, and all my singles should be on there.
Very good. Now, we're going to be playing your new release, which came to me very highly recommended, and it wasn't a disappointment. It is everything it was promised to be. It's an exciting tune that I think is going to get a lot of play. And before we let you go, I want to give you a chance to tell us first what's in the immediate future. We talked a little bit about how you got to where you are now. What have you got planned in the future?
Well, so I'm thinking that we are probably going to be releasing an EP really soon. I'm definitely going to be writing a lot more and trying to put myself out there in different ways. Like if you listen to my first single and then listen to the single I just released, you could see that there's like things that are in common about them, and then you could see that things are different. I don't want all my music to sound the same through every single song. I want them to differ, so I'm trying to write more songs that, not too different, the same genre like country pop music, but just to not sound the same as other songs and other artists. And yeah, so I'm planning on writing more, definitely performing more at bigger venues with my band, and I'm really excited for that. So that's what I have coming up.
Okay, tell us quick, if you would, please. That's fine. Tell us quick, if you would, please, about the band that backs you up, because we were just talking about the fact that the people that work with the artists don't always get the credits they deserve. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the people that are backing you up.
Yes, so for my live band, I have a drummer. He actually lives in Vero Beach, so he comes down here. He's a college student, and we play together. He's awesome. He's a great person, and it's always so much fun. And then right now we have my bass player, Sam, who is actually Luke's cousin, which is my drummer. So they work together, and it's just really fun because they're just such great